I finally thought of an actual thing that we don't think of as an addiction, but is actually an addiction. It's basically consuming content online.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Whether that be YouTube, TikTok, iFunny, any of those things that you go on and you basically scroll for endlessly for hours on end.
Facebook
and Twitter, whatever you want to, consume content. We're all like ingrained into that. Like I could literally spend all day on my phone doing nothing but scrolling and listening to things and listening to podcasts like this one. And it's kind of so deeply ingrained in our society at this point that I think we can all acknowledge that there's some level of it in all of us. Whether we want to admit it or not, you can try to argue it as much as you want, but it's just something that's a part of us right now. It's just the way that society is developed.
I've heard discussion on how a lot of the there was a good term for it, but basically it's a really short positive feedback loop. Scroll slightly, get more happy. Scroll slightly, get more happy.
There's a whole documentary about it.
Yeah, there's no time investment involved, so a lot of it I've heard discussion on if it's killing people's attention span in a long run.
Well, and I was talking with one of my coworkers who's got his own YouTube channel, and he said that he gets the most views out of things that are like 15-second clips. If it's longer than a minute, people just don't watch it because they're into the fast, watch a quick thing, move on.
That's frustrated me a lot too, because I like longer form videos that can talk on things a lot more. It's just more enjoyable. I can turn it on and listen to it.
Yeah.
And then everything currently is just like 15 seconds, nothing. Like it's just like snack equivalent of media.
Well, that's what makes TikTok so like inviting to so many people, is that their attention span doesn't need to be very long for you to go through and enjoy that content. You could literally scroll through for hours, not even realizing it, because everything is 15-30 seconds, maybe at most 3 minutes long. So like the videos are short enough that they can get your attention early and keep your attention throughout the entirety of the video, and then you scroll on to the next one, and the next video usually does the same thing, because their algorithm has gotten to the point where they can just predict the content that you want to see. It's gotten to the point where it's like, everything that you like on there becomes another point towards a type of video they want to show you next.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you really think about it, so in a way that is an expensive hobby. Because let's say because all of us here are engineers / pseudo engineers / we're basically engineers.
Higher ranking tech officials in some way.
Yeah, and we're billing people, like if we were in consulting, like some of our friends, we'd be billing other people for our time, which can amount to $30, $40, $50 an hour. Which, if you think about it, we consume an amount of content when we're not working. That's worth $50. That's essentially our time. It gives me our time is valuable.
Yes.
Or sometimes when there's nothing going on, when you are working.
Yeah.
That is true. I think we've all done that too, but
yeah, that's honestly it's crazy to think about that. The time that you spend scrolling and listening to stuff like that and not doing anything else is just basically time lost. It's you're invested a lot of time into this kind of thing, and I don't like to see the metrics on it, but my phone likes to show me the metrics on it and says that my screen time is up X% or down X% every week, just because the last couple weeks I've been concussed, so it's you've been spending 12 plus hours on your phone every day. What's going on? And it's I'm not actually looking at my phone the entire time. I'm just listening to music.
So there's a 40-acre plot in the northern UP of Michigan for sale for rather cheap that I've looked at a couple of times. How say we all invest in it, and we can just have a place to go and get rid of the contagion that is social media. We'll just build a cabin and hang out.
I'm too ingrained in technology now. I don't think I can leave it behind, unfortunately.
I believe in you. You are not succumbing to cyberpsychosis, you fool.
I appreciate the convenience that technology offers, but I'm not so ingrained in it that I'm gonna like put AI inside my house or whatever. I'm not gonna like
Oh, God, no.
smartify my house, you know.
I
Be
barely
very-
have a Google Home, and even then I insult it all the time.
Convenience is the avenue to forgetfulness of how to actually do things.
Well, it's that comes to kind of a contentious topic because sometimes
Yeah.
people value their time, their free time more than doing menial tasks. So therefore, they pay others, and usually those same people can afford to do that.
Yeah.
But also,
But-
like, I can't just bug out because I have to buy insulin.
Well, yeah.
He literally depends on modern society to live. So
Alternatively, we start a pig farm and we get a lot of needles.
Oh god.
is that how insulin's made?
You
That's how it
can.
used to be made. It used to be extracted from pigs at butcher shops, I believe. I don't know exactly. I don't know the industry on that.
You'd have to look into it again, but I think it had like a slightly higher chance of not working or rejection or something like that. But I'd have to look into it to give a proper report on it.
Fair enough.
Well, insulin's purely a chemical compound, isn't it? There's no genetic compound
It's a
involved.
hormone.
It's a
Yeah.
hormone. So
Yeah, your
technically-
chance of rejection on something like that seems like it should be pretty low, but I'm also not a med professional.
The issue isn't the fact that they're that I would reject it. The issue is if it could is purity, and because like my body takes a certain type of insulin, which is like I think it's like 100. They call it like 100 units, but it's not like actually 100 units because I get more cc's out of that per vial. But it's based on like the purity of your actual like insulin. So
So what you're saying is we breed an insulin super pig.
They did that was actually with heart valves
Oh, neat.
That's actually
years ago. Years ago they did that. You know.
This topic took a really dark turn. I apologize for taking us
It
down
took a
this
very
path.
abrupt turn.
I blame
I guess-
Todd.
I guess I can kind of bounce off
Right.
of Todd's latest thing with that, with my addiction. Recently, well, not recently, within the last couple years, so I guess maybe recently, depending on your timelines, I've found myself craving. Thank you, Jonas. I've found myself craving knowledge and skills, and so I've gone out of my way to pick up skills, and I'm probably gonna go for a CDL and a forklift license at some point, but like I'm trying to build up as much as I can. I picked up archery, leatherworking, I've just been picking up things left, right, and center, jack of all trades, master of none type thing.
I mean, that has its own benefits, like you're gonna be able to do a lot of stuff. You'll hopefully be useful around the house at some point,
I've found the downside, Pippin, of doing stuff like that, especially when you start getting into like craft-based skills, like leatherworking, woodworking, and things like that. You start to really nitpick the world around you when it's not up to the standards that you'd meet yourself.
I've been told that by some people who I know who are welders, who will be like, oh my god, that is a god-awful weld. What the fuck were you doing?
Yep.
I mean,
Like,
that's
that was part of why I spent so much time in the weld shop my last semester. Part of why, anyways,
Yeah.
my last semester at Tech. It was because I was trying to get good at it.
Look-
Ooh, if you want
That's
Pippin, I have a recommendation for a more passive book on that. If you've ever heard of the Trapper's Bible,
Mhm.
I
I
would
haven't heard
recommend-
of it, but I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, it's all like wildlife traps and stuff like that.
What were you gonna say, Sherry?
I can't remember.
I do be like that.
for me, I think like getting good at skills like that and starting to nitpick things around you, that just comes with you like gaining mastery in a skill. So like, me and I can look at like automation panels now and recognize when one has been put together and designed well and one that's been just kind of sloppily put together and doesn't have any real thought into how things are put into it. So like, you get used to that sort of stuff the more you
Yeah.
do it. So like
Well, that's-
you get to see things and be like, oh, this is the standard I would have, or this is subpar. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's part
Yeah.
of why I like the rotation that I'm in, or the program that I'm in right now, is because it allows me to experience different aspects of a company and, get experience. Like I'm cycling through, an engineering role, a purchasing role, a quality role, a supervisor role. Like I'm getting
That's
all
fun.
this different experience.